In my time in doing YouTube and stuff, I've commented on different things and I've learned quite a bit. There have been a lot of people that when I first got into it, I held up as really good patriotic people that did a lot of good. Say for instance, Tommy Robinson on letting us know what was going on regarding the grooming gangs around the UK actually, and Farage was another one. Now, I thought Farage was going to be an absolute hero getting us out of the European Union. He pushed, while he was within UKIP, for a referendum so we could vote on whether we wanted in or out. And he stood up over in Brussels, I think it is, I can't remember the exact place, and often's the case that I would replay some of his speeches and love exactly what he was saying. It was great. It was showmanship, but it was also, he was saying the truth. It wasn't doing too bad. The money that the MEPs earn is quite good coin. But he said he wanted us out and that he was going to get his own way. Now, at the same time, the machine, the papers, the media of all descriptions, including the opposition, which would have been Labour, Conservative, all of them, were saying we're stronger within the European Union. It's a better thing. We need to stay there. And Farage was pretty much one of the only voices, there weren't very many, saying we need to leave. And he say all these different reasons, and I truly believe that he thought that, and that was his thing. UKIP were getting stronger and stronger. It seemed like a viable opposition party. Then comes the night of the election. Now, bearing in mind we've had all the fear and everything put upon us, the system itself was pretty smug. It thought we've scared those idiots into voting to remain. That's what's going to happen. Cameron was pretty sure of it, all right, as were the rest of them. Anyway, come the night, and it looks like we're actually going to leave. And then all of a sudden, Farage's face just drops. Why? And he quit the next day. Now, it had been said by himself that all he ever wanted to do was get us out of Europe, then he'd leave politics. Okay? So maybe that was the case. I could have thought it would have been a more timely time to leave. Maybe a little bit further on down the road when all the business has gone through and everything has actually happened. But anyway, what I was concerned about is why he looked so glum and so upset about the fact that we actually had voted to leave. I don't get that. So he stays with UKIP for a short while. He then gets a litany of leaders he endorses to go in there, which run it into the ground. Between him and the other people, the thing was running on in the red. And then they eventually get Gerard Batten in, who brings Tommy Robinson in, and they recruited, I don't know how many about half, again, new voters who, by the way, or new party members, and managed to get the money coming in and get the party back in the black. At which point, Farage calls them all racists and promptly throws his toys and leaves. Fine. Then he sets up the next party, and he's going to stand people in different parts of the country, and he's really going to hope to get into government, all right, via becoming an MP, and he wants to get a load of his people in, and he wants to hold the government to account for not doing right or not bringing Brexit through or whatever it was. And then at the last minute capitulates, and it's a bit of a wet weekend. Then he's going to get back into politics with a new party. By this time, people like me are looking at him going, what's the deal with this guy? So he's stood 7 times and failed 7 times. Now, he was saying that he was getting back into frontline politics again, that he had to, that it was his job, that this going on over in the Channel, which he said, by the way, that he was first to expose. Sorry, we were doing that, or not we so much, Steve Laws, Active Patriot, and there were many others down there helping out. They were the first, Nige, just so you know. And the more I look at the guy, the more I can't think that he's actually the real deal. I don't think he's genuine. I've got my suspicions about this bloke, I'll be completely honest. Now, there's a lot of money to be earned in what he's doing, and fine, fair enough. But he gets a lot of people who truly do believe in him, and he builds them up, and he lets them down. And I think that's wrong. And I think if he's got no intention to go ahead into politics and actually genuinely lead a party, then the best thing he can do is leave it well alone. Because building people up and taking people over in this direction just to let them down ruins other parties that are genuine. I I actually wanted him to actually be our Prime Minister once. I actually thought he would be a good Prime Minister, but I actually starting to think now that I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw the guy. And that's a shame, because I literally thought it was almost a legend status at one point. Now, he did get us the Brexit referendum, and we ended up leaving. But can you imagine this, if he was actually opposition, controlled opposition, that we were meant to believe that we were getting the vote, that what would actually happen was the system itself would scare the living daylights out of everybody so they wouldn't vote to leave. But there was a decent looking opposition which shouted high and often from the rooftops and over there, right, about leaving, and came up with some really good points and all the rest of it, and really did look credible. Just think about that. That could, just think, I'm not saying definitely, I'm just saying think about it, right? But anyway, we all voted to remain. Now, the government, the system, the European Union, and everybody else gets to say they had their vote, they chose to remain, and at which point it would have forged ahead into being something completely different. That hasn't happened. Now, whether he was controlled up or not, I reckon he was myself. But whether he was or he wasn't, I don't think this was meant to happen. In fact, I'm fairly sure it wasn't meant to happen. And I'm pretty sure that since that, and say, for instance, people like Trump getting in, we're never going to be allowed to vote and it actually mean anything anyway. And somebody said, as a wise man said once, that if voting actually made a difference and or achieved anything, we simply wouldn't be given it. Our illusions of democracy is just that. We have a two-party system, and both of those party members, like the MPs and stuff, they all serve a different master. Now, the master should be the voter. The masters should be the people of this country that have put them in a position to run the affairs of the country on their behalf. That's how it's meant to be. But they don't. They serve the banking, they serve the globalism, they serve big pharma, big companies, big whatever. They don't serve you and me. But we do need to have the illusion of democracy going on, because if actually people believed, well, actually, I don't even know now, but going back a few years, say, for instance, in the 80s, if you told them, well, actually, you're not in a democracy, you're in a two-party system that's controlled by people that you'll never see, and the government does these people's wishes, and whatever they decide, be it war, be it, I don't know, a political stance, whatever, a new direction. If people believe that, and they believe that their vote didn't mean anything and they weren't served, they would have gone in the old days off their minds. They would have gone mental. Today, I think people have got their head buried so far in the sand they couldn't give two monkeys about that. They like the illusion, but they don't want to go any further. And if you actually wanted to unplug them from the system and told them that this is actually all a lie and you don't have democracy, I think a load of them would rather attack you than break into the reality of, oh dear, we're in a whole world of pain. Because every different political party go through, and they carry on with the running us into more and more debt and ruining this, that and the other, and blaming everything on the last party. They go ahead for 5 years, carry on, wreck everything, and then you move on to the next party, or sometimes that party does twice. And then another one will get in, and then they'll blame the one before. And we'll just go, oh, well, it's not their fault because it's them, or it's not their fault because it's them. And the system gets worse and worse and worse. And I believe that we're all just given bread and circus. Anyway, that's just my belief. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, show us to your friends. Without the swearing, I'm sure you can show Nan and whoever else. See what they think. Anyway, I'll see you in a bit.